Now, Eskom says that wildfires have caused a major outage in the Kouga, Humansdorp and R330 Bornman areas. The power utility says it will start repair work once the affected areas are declared safe to access. 4 major Eskom power lines have tripped and some are feared to have been burned down by the wildfires. In St. Francis, the Kouga Municipality has issued an urgent warning for residents of the Swartenbosch area along the R330 road to vacate their homes immediately. Now, those fires continue to rampage through the Kouga region of the Eastern Cape, affecting bush and farm areas. The N2 between Jeffreys Bay and Humansdorp has also been closed to traffic, as well as some of the roads in the town of Jeffreys Bay. Meanwhile, the crews in Mossel Bay in the Western Cape remain on high alert as hot, windy weather continues to threaten flare-ups, and several homes were destroyed when the blaze swept through Aalwyndal, Island View, as well as Vakansieplaas on Tuesday. Now, for the latest, we're joined by the Mayor of the Kouga Municipality, Hattingh Bornman, as well as the Senior Manager, Fire Rescue and Disaster Management Services, Mossel Bay Municipality, Joseph Johnston. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning and welcome to Morning Live. Mr. Mayor, if I could start with you. Just as far as the current condition on the ground is, can you just give us an update with regard to that?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for having me. We've got 3 areas of concern at the moment. One is just outside St. Francis Bay, where there's been continuous flare-ups throughout the night, and our teams have been working extremely hard to try and protect houses, make sure that property is safe and people's lives are safe. And so that's the first area of concern. At 5:30 this morning, we're lucky to have the helicopter back in the air again. So that's making a big difference, and we're making good progress there. The other 2 areas of concern is just outside of Jeffreys Bay, where 4 houses burned through the night, during the night, and our teams are still on the ground, and that fire is spreading very fast in a northerly direction away from Jeffreys Bay. And then the last one is between Humansdorp and Jeffreys Bay. That's the picture you see there. That was yesterday, and those fires are still burning. Also in the northerly direction, and there's some big power lines feeding Jeffreys Bay with electricity that's under threat there, and our team's fighting the fires there as well. Through the night, there were small flare-ups in other areas, but we were able to contain those very well. But at this stage, those are the 3 big areas of concern to us.
Mayor Bornman, just looking at those pictures there, you can already see the devastation. So just in terms of the residents and how they and businesses were affected, can you just give us an update on that, please?
Yeah, there's been a few people that's been evacuated, as you indicated, as well, in just outside of St. Francis, outside of Jeffreys Bay areas. But it is, at this stage, luckily, we've been able to contain the fires to as little as possible people being affected. Business has actually been amazing in terms of making sure that we've got supplies. They've been donating everything from burgers to food to resources for firefighters and people who are displaced. So it's been really wonderful. I think the biggest problem outside of the fire currently is the power outage in St. Francis Bay, where some of the Eskom lines has fallen. We have notified them early yesterday already, but they're still assessing the situation on the ground, and obviously with the fires, it's very, very difficult to actually access these areas at the moment. So we don't expect the electricity to be on in St. Francis before late afternoon. So we ask our residents to just be patient with us as we work as hard as we possibly can to get that back on as well.
Joseph Johnston, if I could just bring you in here with regard to what has been happening this week and the firefighting efforts. Just in terms of preparedness, were you adequately prepared, 1? And 2, what has made the fires that we've seen, so difficult to contain? Because right from the onset, we were speaking about possible flare-ups after we were told that there was a measure of containment in the Mossel Bay area. But what has made it so difficult to actually deal with these fires?
Good morning and thank you for having me. We responded to the incident on Monday that occurred in the rural area, that being the responsibility of the district, and we then responded to the district as well. That fire was contained on Monday within the area. I'm saying contained and not controlled. Situation changed on Tuesday, and that led to the spread of this fire through a ravine and up embankments, which then propelled and propagated the flames into the residential area of Aalwyndal. And the response then was from Mossel Bay Municipality to assist and stop that. Fires are actually destroying houses and property on the Aalwyndal side. With the turn of the wind late afternoon, it then took the fire right into the Island View and Vakansieplaas area. For these type of fires, with the conditions that we have, the high heat, the wind, the long drought period, and the thicket, the vegetation itself, contributed to runaway fires that occurred.
And from an operational perspective, do you have sufficient resources? Are you adequately capacitated at this point?
At this point, we are capacitated. Like the responsibility of the rural area, that is the district municipality, we tend to look after the residential areas. With these type of fires, you can have all the resources in the world, but you will not stop it at these wind speeds and the way that this fire is propagated and traveled through globes, and where spotting occurs, where movement of vehicles to be taken into consideration. I want to refer you back to the California fires, where America has the largest type of firefighting force. There is just no way that you can ever have enough capacity to deal with these type of fires.
And of course, critical infrastructure also coming into harm's way here. Can you just give us an update on that situation, please?
For the Mossel Bay Municipality area in the residential, where critical infrastructure was not damaged, we were concerned about power lines within the Aalwyndal and the Vakansieplaas area, but none of those structures were affected by the fire.
And Mayor Bornman, if I can come to you in your area in Kouga with regard to the critical infrastructure, what is the latest update there?
For us, it's Eskom lines in St. Francis. St. Francis has been without power since yesterday afternoon, and it will remain, unfortunately, off for quite some time as Eskom tries to fix those connections and those power lines. It's high voltage lines, so it's a lot of work that needs to go into fixing those. Humansdorp and Jeffreys Bay were off briefly yesterday, but that was our own internal infrastructure, which we were able to reconnect and fix quite quickly. The substation you see there is our main substation feeding into town, so our firefighters have been working extremely hard to protect that, as well as the main lines running from it. So it's really been mainly electrical infrastructure. That also obviously has an effect on water services and sewage services that needs to be able to run with electricity, but we have generators on site at this stage still running everything smoothly as far as other infrastructure is concerned.
So just to wrap from both of you gentlemen, what is your advice to residents to ensure that they are safe and, do not find themselves or their property in harm's way during these fires? Mr. Johnston, let me start with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, we advise and the residents to actually reduce the risk of runaway fires through their properties by doing the fire load reductions. We do have on our websites, we have pamphlets and brochures available, which is saying create a green garden, indigenous plants to be used, and then have your fire breaks in place and have some sort of firefighting capability on your property itself, especially when it comes to rural areas, as well as the interface with rural areas, which is normally small holdings. Thank you.
Mayor Bornman?
For us at this stage, I'd like to request residents just to stay calm. We will ask people to evacuate when it is necessary, and people shouldn't panic at this stage. about evacuations, unnecessary evacuations, and causing panic from that point of view. And then we've had a large amount of people that really want to help, but also want to go and see what the fires look like, and we cannot afford that. It's already heavy congested, very small roads that we're working on with big trucks, water tankers and so forth driving in and out, and we ask residents to please stay away from the fires at this stage so that we can operate the way that we want to and should operate to get this fire under control as quickly as possible.
Well, gentlemen, I know it's been a very busy week. We wish you well, and we wish you all the safety there in your respective areas. And thanks so much for speaking to us here on Morning Live. That was the Mayor of Kouga Municipality, Hattingh Bornman, as well as the Senior Manager, Fire, Rescue and Disaster Management Services in Mossel Bay Municipality, Joseph Johnston, speaking to us about raging fires in those areas.